Hearts family. This is the voice of your host and producer, Tiara Sharma. As you can see, we're doing things a little differently this time. Listen, if you did not watch the last series called The Malice of Matriarchy, based on my chapter in the best-selling co-authored book, Trapped Behind Enemy Lines in My Mind, I need you to stop. Stop right now. Go to my YouTube channel, www.youtube.com/at Restore Hearts TV. Subscribe, and I want you to watch the series, The Malice of Matriarchy. Me and my guest, Mr. Donnie D.B. Reed, had a real, raw conversation about mothers. We shared some vulnerable experiences about our relationships with our mothers and our mother figures, and that extended our conversation to reveal how living in a family headed by a matriarch shaped us. So the reason you want to go back and watch that series is because this series that we're starting today is called Mending Mother Daughter Relationships, a daughter's journey. So now you see why it's important to go back and watch those episodes. This stems from that conversation that me and Donnie had about the Malice of Matriarchy. If you've ever had some unfavorable experiences with your mother or mother figure that left you resentful, bitter, and questioning whether or not you want to continue the relationship with her, then you've probably been affected by the Malice of Matriarchy. There's great news. The great news is that from my personal journey of healing from the emotional pain and injuries that I experienced from the women in my family, it birthed a process called AFAR. That's the acronym AFAR. And I want to share this process with you to assist you in your emotional healing journey as you mend your relationships with your mother and or your daughter, depending on which stance you're taking. This is a crucial part of the journey you must be willing to take if you truly want to mend your mother-daughter relationships. Mending the relationship starts with you working on you. Let me say that again. Mending your mother-daughter relationships starts with you working on you. So, whether you are watching this series as a mother or as a daughter, I recommend that every woman take the position of a daughter as we go through this process. Why? Because not every woman has been a mother, but every woman has been a daughter. As a mother, it will be hard for you to understand and empathize with your daughter's grievances if you have never acknowledged your own pain, hurts, disappointments, and grievances as a daughter. Naturally, there will be a disconnection and insensitivity that occurs in the relationship because you never released the emotions you experienced as a daughter. You may not even be aware that your words and behaviors are dismissive and hurtful to your daughter because you are operating from an emotionally unhealthy space. Now, it's decision time. Are you willing to take this journey with me for the next few weeks of healing from the emotional pain you experience from relationships with your mother or mother figure? If your answer is yes, you'll need a few things to get started with this process. Number one, you'll need a journal and a pen. This is an interactive process that requires your participation. So let's release our truth once and for all, and we'll do that by journaling. Number two, you'll need courage. It takes courage to acknowledge those painful emotions that have been buried for so long. You can do this, and you are not alone. Number three, you'll need discipline. You will need the discipline to sit with uncomfortable emotions that arise. You will be tempted to give in to the distractions that take you out of the process. If you find yourself running from the truth that is being exposed through this process, don't beat yourself up. Take a deep breath and ask yourself this one question. What am I afraid to discover during this process? And then I want you to journal whatever comes to your mind. Don't hold back. And I invite our men to participate in this process too. If you're a man watching this, I know we're talking about mending mother-daughter relationships, but we did have a man, Mr. Donnie D.B. Reed, represented in our conversation of the Malice of Matriarchy. I just cannot speak for the men and if this process is beneficial for a man because I have worked this process in the position of a daughter. So if we have any men who want to join us on this journey, feel free to join us during this journey and let me know how it worked for you. What changes could we make to make this a process that is beneficial for our men? So, hey, let me know about that. Let's get back to our process so far. So, hey, let me know about that. Let's get back to our process of FAR. The process we will use is the acronym of FAR. And as I said, that is AFAR. The A stands for acknowledge. Before you can address a challenge, you must acknowledge that it is a problem for you. And I stress that it is a problem for you. Doesn't matter if it's not a problem for your mother, for your spouse, for your siblings. If it is a problem for you, then you need to acknowledge that. F. F stands for forgive. Many research articles talk about the effects that not forgiving have on the body. It has been linked to joint pain, autoimmune diseases, and cancer. I invite you to do some independent research to explore these facts for yourself. The second A in AFAR stands for aware. Be aware of how your thoughts and emotions affect your behavior. And then R. The letter R stands for retrain. You must learn to think new thoughts, which produce new emotions that lead to positive, self-loving behaviors. And that process can be found in my chapter, The Malice of Matriarchy, in the book Trapped Behind Enemy Lines in My Mind. I personally started this process in December of 2020. On December 31st, 2020, I read my mother the letter I had written explaining that the dynamics of our relationship had to change. When I first acknowledged that I did not like the dynamics of my relationship with my mother and that I would need to verbally communicate the difficult emotions I was feeling inside to her, I was terrified. And there were 5 reasons that I was terrified, and I want to share those with you. Number 1, I did not know that I was harboring so much pain, anger, and resentment towards my mother before the moment that truth was revealed to me, and I was shocked. Number 2, I did not want to hurt my mother's feelings and cause an emotional injury. I did not know if she could handle my truth. Number 3, I did not want to lose our relationship, but I also knew that things had to change, and I was willing to walk away from the relationship if my boundaries were not respected. That made me sad. Number 4, this was my first time verbally expressing deep emotional feelings to a human being with the intention of not hiding or holding back what I truly thought and felt to save the relationship. To do it with the woman who loved me, adored me, and took care of me was very scary. And number 5, I did not have the confidence to say what I was writing in my journal to my mother. Some of the things that I was writing were uncomfortable for me to write, let alone say to my mother. But I knew I had to share everything that was coming up on the inside of me to totally be free within and move forward in a healthy way in building a new relationship with my mother. I also expressed the emotional pain that I suppressed as a child that made me resentful and bitter towards her. These were the hidden secrets that were lying dormant in me and keeping me in emotional bondage. This emotional bondage was preventing me from developing a healthy relationship with my mother. I pray that you will use this intimate and vulnerable letter to my mother as a mirror for your life. I pray that it will give you language for the hard things you could not express to your mother as a daughter. I pray that this letter will free you and give you permission to start your process of healing from those emotional injuries that caused a strain in your relationship with your mother. Let's take ownership of the process and be free. This letter will be the foundation for how I break down the process of AFAR in the following episodes of this series. So I want you to listen to this letter. Think about what I said to my mother. There's a lot of things that we will cover over the next few episodes. Just take a deep breath, relax, don't panic. We're going to go through it together. We'll start this journey together. So for all of the mothers, all of the daughters who will be joining me in this journey of mending our mother-daughter relationships, a daughter's journey. As mothers, a lot of times we can focus on motherhood, but I really want you to posture yourself as a daughter. As I said, all women have been a daughter before. Not all of us have been a mother, but we've all been a daughter. So let's release those emotions, those things that have been hidden in us since childhood. Let us release those so we can move forward and build healthy relationships with our mothers and with our daughters. Thank you for dedicating your young life to us, your children, and showing up for us the best way you knew how. Now that I have become a mother myself, I have an even greater appreciation for your love and sacrifice to provide for us the things we needed to survive. Since November of this year, I have committed myself to healing mentally and emotionally, which has also helped start a journey of spiritual healing as well. During this process of emotional, mental, and spiritual healing, it has required me to be totally vulnerable and honest about my life and how I've been feeling. This has been a difficult time for me because I don't remember a time in my life where I have been able to truly feel anything. I have been secretly battling with depression, anxiety, and exhaustion more prominently for the past 5 years. Now that I have time to reflect, the first time I realized I had a problem was when I moved to New York. After I was let go from my nursing job, I felt so relieved. I was so exhausted from working 12-hour shifts that oftentimes turn into 14 to 16 hours. This had become my normal over the past 2 years, and I experienced burnout. This was the first time in my life that I remember feeling like I wanted to die. The stress, the debt, the bills, the lack of support, the lack of family as I knew it, and everything around me that had kept me sane and distracted was gone. I was totally empty and felt like I had nothing to look forward to. I felt even worse because I was a college graduate, I had a job and the ability to make my own money. I was a newlywed with a good husband. I had so many good things happening in my life, yet I felt empty, lonely, and hopeless. I did not understand how I could feel this way inside. I spent most of my days in the bed crying, listening to T.D. Jakes sermons online, and watching episodes of A Different World. That's all I could do. One day, while I was laying in bed crying and asking God, is this all this is to life? Paying bills and dying? If this was it, I didn't want to live anymore. While I was laying there, I heard a voice tell me to get up. That's all it said to me. And that's when I must have gotten the courage to ask for help and tell someone what was going on. From that day forward, I received hope that things would get better. And things did get better. But I continued to struggle with the same cycle of depression, burnout, hopelessness, and emptiness over time. At 30 years old, this is the first time in my adult life where I did not have the power to continue to wear the I'm good mask in front of you. Because I have hit my mental, emotional bottom, I have been forced to examine myself and get to the root of my depression and anxiety. I have found out that it is rooted in me not telling the truth about how I am feeling and feeling like I don't have a safe space to be acknowledged and heard. Now that I have started practicing telling the truth about how I feel and what I am thinking, I have had to start identifying my emotional triggers. When you called Tuesday morning, I could hear the stress in your voice and the thing you wanted to say but refused to say. We need some money. I felt tension, stress, anxiety, and an overall negativity overcome my body, and this was the first time I had the courage to look for answers. You asking me for money was a trigger for unhealthy emotions that formed during my childhood that I could not explain or that I felt safe to ask. For my healing, I need to express these feelings to you so that our relationship can evolve into a healthy space that makes me feel safe. As a child, I can remember that you worked hard. You were always looking for ways to support our physical needs and provide for us. When you would send us to church, everyone would ask where you were and talk about how smart you were and how talented you were, and I remember feeling proud about that. As the years went by, I kept receiving the same questions about you, getting the same conversations about how smart and talented you were, but I didn't know that woman they kept talking about. I knew my mother as the responsible parent who made sure our needs were met, and then she retreated to her room and laid on her bed and watched TV, went to sleep, and repeated. I wanted to see this woman I heard about, but she never emerged. I experienced a woman who was dead inside and desperately crying for help. As I As I grew in age, I learned that my father had a drinking problem, and although he was physically present, his mind and emotions were not with us. I could see that you were hurt and felt unsupported. When you would ask for money from Daddy for household things only to be met with anger and interrogation, I could feel your pain of feeling unsupported by the man in our home, and that made my resentment and distrust grow about Daddy's priorities and ability to support you and us. The yelling and belittling of you and your parenting and your efforts to support me and Kia, that criticism left me sad and anxious and feeling hopeless. So my response was to be your good child. The child in your life, that person in your life who would see you, see your efforts, and not cause you any pain. I blame Daddy for your pain and suffering. I am still traumatized by any yelling, angry male figure until this day. It has even shaped how I experience my own husband's emotions. As I continued to grow more in age, I began to be angry inside at you because I didn't understand why we were continuing to live in this verbally and emotionally abusive and toxic environment that left us feeling unsafe, unloved, unprotected, and sad. By this time, I couldn't wait to move out of that environment and never come back. Once I left home for college, I missed you all, but when I would come home, the stress, anxiety, and sadness of being there would send me back. I had developed a 3-day limit for visitations to keep my sanity and not expend too much energy on the negativity I felt when I came home. I thought I was free, but over the past 12 years, I've learned that avoidance is not true freedom. In this season of healing, I am learning that honesty of feelings, educating oneself, and committing to change oneself through prayer and practical actions is the only true path to freedom. Path to freedom. This week, I learned a word called codependency. It means excessive emotional or psychological reliance on a partner, typically one who requires support on account of an illness or addiction. It hit me like a ton of bricks that I have been in an unhealthy, codependent relationship with my mother. Even though I thought I was doing the right thing by helping support you emotionally and financially. This is the first time that I am able to admit that I feel misused and abused by the continual direct and indirect asks for my emotional and financial support. I'm 30 years old now. I've been giving to you for 10 years, and nothing about your financial situation has changed. No learning or trying a new way. Just the same complacency. I feel that you have used me for the support that you wish you could receive from Daddy, that you've never fully been shown. I'm smart enough to know that you would never hurt me on purpose, but today I am able to acknowledge that I am hurt by the dynamics of our relationship, and I do not want to continue down the same path. I cannot continue to send you money because I have my own family now, and I have to prioritize the needs and wants of my family and responsibilities first. I have faith that you will understand the need for us to separate in this way in order for me to heal and step into the fullness of my life. I also pray that you have the courage to start the process of healing in your own life so that you have the room to grow and become the best version of yourself too. You deserve the best that life has to offer. You deserve emotional safety, financial safety, and spiritual safety. And I am a witness that if you ask God for help and are ready for the journey, He will give you direction in how to achieve a full life worth living. It's not easy. It's definitely painful to relive the bad moments, but it's worth it. I haven't experienced joy and hope in this way in my adult life, and it feels good to be on the other side of depression. Thanks for being the responsible one, Reed. Now, I hope you'll consider this your invitation to start living. Love, sister.
of our Star Heart TD.
Life is a journey, and there are many moments. Some moments are smooth. You flow through them effortlessly. There are other moments when life's challenges interrupt your momentum, yet you find the strength to get back on track, to keep moving. So even if you have to crawl to make it there, do it, because victory belongs to you. You are equipped to handle every part of the journey. You were created to overcome this. Don't give up. I love you.